Okay, so starting with piecewise functions. Do you remember how to do this for yesterday? Do you want me to go through it as slow as yesterday or a little bit faster? Or as slow? I'll start slow and pick up speed. Okay, so for the first one, we'll need two colors. I'm going to use blue and orange. So here, I'm going to do blue and orange for this part. I'm going to zoom in even more. Okay, so for blue, f of x equals -2, so the equation would be y equals -2. And that's the equation of the line we're going to graph. And then f of x equals 3, so the equation of the line would be y equals 3. So these are the two lines. You might be noticing there's no slope. Yes, these are just horizontal lines. Then I need to figure out what parts of the line my blue is in, or what parts of the graph blue is in, and what part is orange. And x is less than 0. So everything less than 0 is my light blue. And then x is greater than or equal to 0 would be this side of the graph. Okay, so this blue line is going to be on this side and the orange line is going to be over here. So now I'm going to graph this line, y equals -2, so I find -2 on the y-axis, and it's just a horizontal line at -2. Not it. What's that? Yes, good call. Okay, so I'm graphing a line at y equals -2 with a pencil because I'm going to need to erase like half of it. And for this line, x has to be less than 0, and it doesn't have a line under it, so it is an open dot at 0. So erasing all this part of the line, and an open dot at 0, and then my line just goes this way. And then this is my blue line. It's an open dot at 0. So this line is at y equals -2, that's where the -2 is, and then x is less than 0, so the open dot goes at 0 on that line. What do you mean? This line is y equals -2. There's no slope, it's just horizontal line is like -2. And then the next one, my orange line, y equals 3, so I go up to 3, horizontal line at 3. But for this one, x is greater than or equal to 0, so there is actually a closed dot at 0. And then all this part of the line doesn't exist. And then this is orange. Now that I have it graphed, I need to identify the domain and range. Domain is the x values. So looking at this, it goes forever and ever to the left and forever and ever to the right. It does include 0 because we do have that closed dot on 0, so therefore this includes all real numbers. So our domain is -infinity to infinity from left to right. And then the range is the values up and down. The only values for range, or the only values for y, are at -2 and 3. There's no other y values that are included. So the way this looks is just -2 in a closed bracket and 3 in a closed bracket.
Why is it a closed bracket?
Because it includes 3. Like even though there's an open dot, it's not asking about the that it's asking about. Yes.
Why do you put them in separate brackets?
Because it's not from 2 to 3, it's just -2 and 3.
Wait, why is that brackets for the open circle?
Because it's not talking about that. Like, the open circle would refer to the left to right, not the up to down. What's that?
Say it was the x-axis, it would be different.
So, like, if we had a closed dot over here, and then we had this gap here, we would say that the domain was -infinity to 0 and have that parentheses because of that, and then we'd say it's like 2 to infinity. But this actually starts at 0, so it overlaps, so it includes 0 here. So when we're talking about the range, the up to down, it includes -2, it includes 3, but we're not really focused on that there. That's all I can tell you. Okay. Number 2, same process. We're going to use 2 colors, red and green. Merry Christmas in September.
It's Thursday, right?
Is it? Yeah. Okay. X is less than 0 for the red. Can you guys not talk? Thank you, appreciate it. X is less than 0. And then for green, X is greater than or equal to 0, so it's all the values this way. Then our equations for red, it would be y equals x. So for this equation, our y-intercept is just 0, and our slope is 1. And then we have y equals 2, which is just a horizontal line at 2. Now we need to graph our lines. I'm graphing in pencil so I can erase the part I don't need. For this line, y equals x, our y-intercept is just 0, because it would be like plus 0. And then our slope is 1, so that'd be up 1 over 1. Continues like this. But just as our slope is up 1 over 1, it can also be down 1 over 1 like this. And our line, I'm drawing this lightly because I'm going to need to erase the half of it I don't need. And for this line, x has to be less than 0. So erasing all of this and putting an open dot at 0. And this is my red line.
What was the slope of that line?
1, positive 1. So I started going up 1 over 1 like I'm used to, but that part of the line had to be erased. So up 1 over 1 would be the same as -1 over -1, because -1 divided by -1 would be positive. So then I continued it this way, down 1 over 1. Did you get that right?
Start at 0.
Why did I plot that first? Because your y-intercept is 0.
Oh.
Is there a difference as to why it's like hx instead of fx?
No. Then for the green line, y equals 2. I'm going to do it in pencil first. Y equals 2 would be right here. So it's just a horizontal line. X is greater than or equal to 0, so that's closed dot right here. And so it goes on forever and ever here. Domain, Maxwell and her. Domain is all your x values. So from left to right, this would go forever left, and this would go forever right. It does include this point as well. So our domain is, again, negative infinity to infinity and beyond. Then range is the y values. So it goes down to infinity, so starting there, and then it comes up to 0. It doesn't include 0, so I'm using a parentheses.
It's not 2.
Then there's nothing in between 0 and 2,
Gotcha. Okay.
so we don't include that. And then it's 2.
And then the brackets.
2 brackets.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And next one. Now we have 3 colors. So grab 3 colors. Let me do blue, green, and orange. So this I'm going to do light blue, this one green, and this one orange. How are you doing, Sophie and Juliana? Are you hanging with us? Is this a lot? Okay, now I'm going to section it off. Blue is xn less than or equal to 0. Green is from 0 to 3. And orange is x is greater than or equal to 3. This way. Then y equals -1 for green, y equals 2x, and for orange, y equals 6. Okay, now I'm going to start graphing my lines. Y equals -1. That's just going to be a horizontal line at -1. X is less than or equal to 0, so I'm going to do a close the dot at 0 and erase the part that's not included and trace the line. Then the next line, y equals 2x. Your y-intercept would be 0, and then the slope is 2 over 1, so up 2 over 1. Zero's not included there, so that would be an open dot at 0. And then a closed dot at 3. 1, 2, 3. Closed dot here. And then erase the rest. This is because it says x is less than or equal to 3. So, yeah, closed dot there. Dirt. And then last part, y equals 6. That would just be a horizontal line at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Horizontal line right here. X has to be greater than or equal to 3, and it's closed dot. And it goes on forever that way. Someone asked today, when will you ever use this? I don't know. Maybe if you become a rocket ship builder. And I would these graphs are just a way to show numbers like graphically. So you could look at this chart and see how data changes, or maybe the speed of a rocket changes. Maybe like as gravity changes, how would that rocket move, or how much fuel would it use? So instances where a rate of something might change. Yes.
How did you get the last one? Y equals 6?
So the line would be at y equals 6. And then x has to be greater than or equal to 3, so I did a closed dot at 3, and I erased this. Next one. Oh wait, I forgot to put domain and range. Domain, it goes forever to the left and forever to the right, so we got negative infinity to infinity. And then for the range, I have negative 1 here, negative 1. Then it skips up to 0. 0 is not included. And then it goes up to 6. And 6 is the highest y value. Close bracket.
Why is 0 not in the bracket?
Because it's open dot at 0. Oh, you know what? It would be because you got... No. We're good. I did right. I'm second guessing myself. Yes.
Why is there parentheses on one end and a bracket on the other?
Because I'm crazy. I'm just kidding. No, because 0 has an open dot, so that means it doesn't technically include 0. It's like everything above 0. And then 6 has a bracket because it includes 6. Yeah. Yes. Oh, wait. Oh, go. There's 3 of you. Okay, John, go ahead.
So if 0 was included, would it just be negative 1 to 6? If it was included?
No, because you have in between negative 1 and 0.
They're different lines. But if they were.
If they were connected, then it would just be from negative 1 to 6. But yeah, yeah. Sophie.
How do you know if it's open or closed dot?
It has to do with the symbol here. So 0 is less than 6. It doesn't have that line underneath it, so it was an open dot. If it does have the line and it includes the 3, like less than or equal to 3, then it has the closed dot. Okay. Number 4. Is that straight? No. Okay, number 4. Need 2 colors. Maybe I'll go back to, I used blue and red. So blue and red. Blue is x is less than 2. So go into 2, all these numbers over here, blue. And then x is greater than or equal to 2. So from 2 over here is red. And then the equations, y equals negative x plus 2. And then y equals positive x minus 2. Now I'm going to graph the lines. This would have a y-intercept of 2 and a slope of negative 1. So y-intercept of 2 and the slope of negative 1 would be down 1 over 1 this way. So the slope would be negative 1, 1, so down 1 over 1. But I'm getting into territory that's not part of that. So this slope is the same as 1 over negative 1, so I can go up 1 over 1 as well. So I completely graphed the line, extended it further than I even need. X is less than 2. So I'm going to where x equals 2 and putting an open dot and erasing the rest of the line.
That was red?
Oh shoot! No, I didn't do it. No, I used the wrong color. Did you guys mess it up too?
No,
Okay, good. Okay, it's supposed to be blue. Should I erase? Let's see if it erases. Oh, did I? Okay, there, I fixed it. Now for the next line, our y-intercept is -2. And then plotting those points, my slope is 1, so it's going to go up this way. And it like intersects that point actually.
is the slope is just 1.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So this is my red. And then what's weird here is x is greater than or equal to 2, so this is actually a closed dot here for this line. This is open dot for one and closed for the other. But really, if you're to see this as one picture, which it is, it's just a closed dot. It includes that number. Like if you plugged in a value for x, you'd always get this number, so.
Why do you start from +2 or red?
Because x is greater than or equal to 2. When I graphed the original line, I started at the y-intercept, which is -2, and I continued graphing it, and then I erased that part because it doesn't include it.
And your slope is 1.
Yes. And then once I have this, I'm going to put my domain in range. Domain goes on forever to the left and forever to the right, so -infinity to infinity. And then for my range, the lowest value for the y is 0. It includes 0. So 0 to infinity on beyond.
How many questions is the homework today?
1.5 million. Actually, yes.
Wouldn't the range be -infinity and
Well,
wait, no.
no, yeah, because what? 0.
It would just be infinity, right?
What do you? Well, the lowest y value is 0.
I was trying to correct the teacher.
Okay, we're gonna skip these two. Yes, I can't see the computer. Can somebody like flip the screen toward me so I can see it? I need to like prop it up or something. Yes.
Why was the lowest y value 0?
Because there's no other points that are below that. Yeah.
Isn't it 2 below the point?
No, for y?
Yeah.
No, it's 0.
It's almost 9.
Yes. I don't think I don't want you to miss it. Can you wait? Okay. So we're gonna skip these two for the sake of time. Something I'm going to do on the bottom here, there is a type of problem on the homework that isn't on this worksheet, and I'm going to show you that type of problem. Yes, okay. Yeah, oh no, not last night. I postponed it because this was challenging. Yeah, okay. Okay, so one type of question that's on the homework is graph each function. And it looks like this, g of x equals to absolute value x. And we're going to graph it.
How big does the graph need to be?
Not very big. Okay, so we have absolute value here. Do you remember what absolute value graphs look like? Maybe? No? Okay. They actually look like this here. And I'll show you with a function table. So if we plug in 0 for x, 2 times 0 would just be 0. If we were to plug in 1, 1 times 2 would be 2. If we were to plug in -1, -1 would turn positive, 1 times 2 is 2. And I'll put in 2 other numbers just so we can see this. If I plug in -2, I get 4. If I plug in +2, I also get 4. And so when I graph these numbers, it looks like this. So 0, 0, 1, 2, -1, 2, -2, 4, and +2, 4. So it makes a graph that looks like this. So on the homework, they'll give you a function like this. You just have to identify the graph. The domain for this would be all real numbers are -infinity to infinity, and the range would be x is greater than 0 or equal to 0. X is greater than or equal to 0. Another one that you might see looks like this. And I'm going to make a function table again, and then we'll graph it.
Oh, f of it? Does
Yeah,
it matter?
it doesn't matter. I mean, yeah, it doesn't matter. Okay, so plugging in, like, let's say 0. 0 plus 1 would just be 1. Maybe plugging in -1, I just get 0. +2, I'd get 3. -2, I would get 1. So -2 plus 1 would be -1. Absolute value of that would be +1. Another number, maybe -3. -3 plus 1 would be -2, which would be +2. Now that I have various points, I can graph it. 0, 1, -1, 0, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, -2, 1, and -3, 2. So it looks like this. So if you get that on the homework, all you have to do is match this to the graph.
Mine did not look like that. I got like a scatter plot.
Did you mess up a negative somewhere probably? Okay, next. And we're not going to go through every problem. Okay. Up here, write the piecewise defined functions shown in the graph. We're just going to do number 7. So this is working backwards where we're given the lines and we have to write like this stuff. So how that looks is f of x, and then we have these fancy brackets. We have 3 parts of the line here, so we'll have 3 equations. And then we'll have like x is less than or equal to x and x